Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kite, and I just want to make a quick update before I head off to bed here, since I haven't been on for a couple weeks. But we haven't had any trade setups to really talk about. I was at a ash spreading ceremony for about a week and a half, and then when I came back, just kind of fell out of the habit of streaming. I do continue to plan on coming back to it, but I am definitely trying to work as hard as I possibly can at the moment. So while these trade setups are fresh, I wanted to get this info out here and talk a little bit about two things. Uh, you know, get on my soapbox, hopefully not for a long period of time because I do need to get to bed here. But from a macro perspective, BTC put in a macro ABC long position. All right. And that entry point was at about 53,685. The market went back down to retest that region, got a very nice V-shaped bounce, and now we're putting in an ABC top position, which at the current moment is not confirmed. All right, we have to be below 65,210 in order for that to become an active position. But this is a very large macro setup. And, I'll kind of skip around here. The rest of the market is in that position as well. And this kind of leads into the next topic here. KDA, ABC top, Apple, ABC top, the SPY. All right, the SPY has done well in the last 2 days, but things can change. All right, SPY is an ABC top position as well, with a lot of room to the downside here. XMR is in a ABC top position as well. Let me try to clean this up a little bit here. LTC, ABC top. So I am not showing you this because I am super duper bearish. It is to lead into my next point. Someone in my group commented that they have been trading ABCs for 2 years and have yet to become successful with it. Now, there's a lot of things that go into being successful. How long do you hold your trades? The risk percentage that you're using on those trades. We can break it down bit by bit. But if I was to say there was one thing that made someone successful over somebody else, it is the willingness to forego ego and forego your idea of what the market is going to do. Now, we talk about it all the time, but you really have to do this in order to have the winners. I'm not talking about taking a short here and it goes back down to 58K and you take profit, yippee doo dah day. All right. I'm talking about you take a short here when nobody else thinks that we're going to drop down to the downside. Nobody else is really saying that. And it goes all the way back down to 38K. And you still don't take profit. And maybe it goes all the way back down to 25K. And you still don't take profit. If you're not willing to take trades like that, especially in the Bitcoin market, all right, with the SPY, it's a little bit different. If you see downside on the SPY, because it's dealing with an inflationary asset, eventually it's going to bounce back, and it's going to bounce back pretty quickly. But with Bitcoin, we can have these massive pullbacks. All right, it's not the same thing as the SPY, not even slightly. All right, everybody loves it when it's going up, but why did we go up here? We didn't have the halvening. Why did we go up so rapidly? All right, Bitcoin can do things that no other asset can do. So why can't it come back down? And once again, I am not saying this because I'm leaning towards the bearish side. I'm saying this because in order to have those trades that put your account so far in profit that you could make mistakes all day on a smaller time frame and it wouldn't matter, you have to forego your ego and what you think the market is capable of. And when you get into those positions, when you secure that short, secure that long, you hold until the market gives you an appropriate point to get out. All right. If we're looking at Bitcoin from a macro scale and you're playing on the account size that I'm talking about, the part of your account that is taking the macro trades and holding for dear life, you would have been in a long from this point here to at least this point here. And that was a total of 200% profit. If you were using a 1% stop loss, that would be a 200 R&R trade. If you were using 1% risk, you would have added about 200% to your portfolio. If you're using 2%, well, you just added 400% to your portfolio. All right. These are the types of trades that tend to be a little bit more risky, and you make up for it on a smaller time frame. But when these trades work out, it puts your account in a different stratosphere from that point forward. If you don't make these types of trades where you're willing to hold, and this trickles down as well to the smaller time frames. It's the same concept, but it starts at the top and it works its way down. If you're not willing to make these types of trades, you will not be successful with any trading system. You have to have the winners, even if they only happen, 1 or 2% of the time that you take a trade. If you don't have them, you won't get far. If you want someone else that has a little bit more experience with that, you can go read Trader Tom's book. You can go look at some other famous traders. They have the winners. They don't have the 7 R&R scalps. They have the winners. So, like I said, this trickles down to the smaller time frames. If you take a trade on a 5-minute time frame, you're willing to work your way through it until the market doesn't have anything more to give. And the willingness to let the market do what it needs to do in the meantime. All right, I'm sure people would have loved to take profit on this trade somewhere in between here and then reopen it and put it up here. But that didn't happen. And that's what I'm talking about, the willingness to let things happen. If you keep trying to get out of a trade, because let's be honest, it's fear. Fear that all of the profit that trade is in is going to turn to zero. And the market's going to switch direction. So you get out of the trade. It's late at night, so if I don't stop, I'll continue rambling. And we'll definitely talk about this topic continuously throughout it all. But that leads me to, just our closest trade setup of medium to macro significance, which is this ABC pattern here. Me personally, I'm definitely leading on the side of bulls. October and November historically are the best months. We are coming off of a very strong ABC bottom with retested support. And if we continue to push to the upside and we break the all-time high, well, then I think it is off to the races. But there is a 30% side of me that, from a personal level, I have a feeling that the halvening is starting to have such a weakening effect on the market as a whole, and that the anticipation of the continuation of these trends that we have continued to see over the past 12 years or so are going to continue. Well, that's just not mathematically possible. A part of me definitely starts to feel like we're going to need about 2 market cycles worth of price action and supply shock to force in the bull markets of yesterday that those monumental blow-off tops that always happen will continue to probably always happen, but they need more time to cook. So that's what I'm talking about. Give me one moment. Sorry about that. So even though everything in me is screaming bullish right now, and from a trading perspective, my trades reflect that. All right, on my main accounts, I'm macro long from this level and will continue to be for the foreseeable future. There's no target currently set from a trading perspective for where this long is going to be set in stone. When the market gives me that, I will make that decision. But until then, there's nothing to do except for hedge the position here. All right, since this is the largest macro ABC of any significance, this trade is what I would consider the cost of business. I'm going to be entering this trade with no expectation of profit on my macro portfolio. Even if we see it come down to 58,210, I will not be taking profit. Even if we come all the way back down to 53,580, I will not be taking profit. And the reason for this is because if I get stopped out of this trade, I lose a specific amount of money that if this trade works out, there's nothing to worry about. It's cost of business. Thinking about, buying the ingredients for a pizza and then selling that pizza for profit. Right, eventually it becomes a net negative, but the way that I play things, there's a very small chance of that happening. But I need to let this trade do whatever it does. Because what if we continue downwards? I know it's unthinkable, right? It's unthinkable that Bitcoin can, without a halving, run up 200% for no reason. But yet it's unthinkable that we could come back down to 38,000, 25,000. What if we came back down to 15K? What does that do to you? Does that infuriate you? Does it make you mad at me for even suggesting the idea is even possible? What's possible is not reality. The reality is that we have no clue where the market's going to go in terms of a top and a bottom and the moves in between. We have a general idea just because of math. But as people start to get more and more hands on the market, human psychology does start to play a significant role in that mathematical equation. In the early days of Bitcoin, when there's not a whole lot of humans touching it, it's very easy and the math is dominant. But no longer is that the case. So, you can grandstand and say that Bitcoin can no longer go down. And like I said, I am macro long at the current moment. But this current position, if we come back down below 65,000, it could mark a significant top before continuation to the downside. And if you're not in a position because you're so personally biased towards one direction, whether it's an egotistical need for the market to go up because you want to pay off debt or whatever it might be, or, you are already called out sick from work for the next 6 years because after this bull run, you're going to be a millionaire if things go well. Well, what if they don't go well? What's your backup plan? And that's why I think it takes a certain type of somebody to be successful. The person that's willing to sit back, listen to the market tells you something, and then from that point on, you let it continue to talk. And you don't interrupt the conversation. If you get what I'm saying, then you're probably one of the few that will work it out and you will profit. If you don't know what anything I just said in the past couple sentences, metaphorically means, well then, good luck to you. I'm sure you'll bounce around and have a grand time. Yeah, that's about it. Like I said, let me reiterate one more time for the people that are going to leave mean comments. I'm not bearish from a trading perspective, and I'm not bearish from a personal perspective. But even my personal perspective and my trading perspective has to be willing to say, hey, there's opportunity. And where there's opportunity, there's money to be made or a small amount to be lost. And I'll leave you with that. I'll be returning to streaming sometime shortly. I can't guarantee when. I am working incredibly hard at the moment. Just trying to make sure that things are good for the future. And unfortunately, that does come with some sacrifice. So I appreciate everybody that sticks around on this channel with the inconsistencies and all that jazz. But I'm really not here to have a social media influence. I'm here to talk to like-minded people and hopefully help some others along the way. So I appreciate you very much. And we'll talk soon. Good night, guys. Bye-bye.